Um, this is tough. But
It's
I
a good
think there's a
one.
clear starter. I think there's a clear starter, and that's where this makes it tough. I think T.J. Watt is your clear starter. We're talking if healthy. He might be the greatest blitzing edge of all time if healthy. If healthy, he may end there. I know we got Lawrence Taylor. Lawrence Taylor played way more linebacker spot, like in terms of actually playing a little bit of coverage than T.J. Watt ever will. I mean, we've already got two 16, 17 plus sack seasons. He's already climbing a leaderboard. I think it's silly not to have a fully healthy TJ Watt on this leaderboard. But Nick Bosa and Miles Garrett is where it gets tough. And my only reason why I'm taking Miles Garrett to bench and cutting Nick Bosa is because Nick Bosa has not played long enough yet for me to put him over Miles Garrett.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that TJ Watt is also my clear starter. I'm gonna have to bench Nick Bosa. I think,
I
like I
mean, this
said,
is silly. What are you saying?
I mean,
Quit doing this.
this is what I'm telling you. I told you this earlier in the show. Miles Garrett is a guy that's gonna go out there and be dominant for 3 plays, and then he's gonna be gassed for 2 drives. He's done.
He had
And
18 and a half sacks one season.
Yeah, I mean, again, he's dominant for 3 plays, and he's done for a whole drive. He's it's the next time the defense goes out on the field, he's dominant again. Nick Bosa is one of those guys, and T.J. Watt's one of those guys where they're good every single play. Miles Garrett is good for 30% of the drive, but he is damn good in
I
that
mean, I
30%.
also think I think another thing is with Miles Garrett and all this is I think that the Browns usually have the worst defense out of these three guys, and the Browns definitely have the worst D line out of these three guys. Because I mean, other than Miles Garrett, when he had his 18 and a half sack season, he had Jadeveon Clowney, and he was terrible that
Mm.
year, and he was terrible the next year, and now he's a free agent. Um, I just think that Miles Garrett produces a lot more for being that guy that's the only guy on that D line. When you go to the Steelers, you got TJ Watt and Cameron Hayward, and you go to the 49ers, and you have the greatest. I mean, you have three relic angels playing defensive line and possibly Moses. Um, so I think that Miles Garrett produces a lot more with what he has compared to these guys.
I mean, yeah, I'm not denying that.
Other than TJ Watt, obviously. I mean, I don't care how good your defense is. If you're letting a guy get 22 and a half sacks, I mean, he's just silly.
I'm not denying Miles Garrett isn't good, and it may or may not have anything to do with how good that defense is or how bad that defense is. I just think if we're talking in a statistic where like there's QB pressures, I'm looking at it right now. Miles Garrett and QB pressures is not anywhere near the likes of Hassan Reddick, Micah Parsons, Nick Bosa, and T.J. Watt. So I mean that's where I'm getting the where he goes out there for 30% of the drive and is just the one
Well,
of
this
the
is
most
another problem
dominant
is
players.
two
But
of these guys are the same position, one of these guys are not. Like TJ Watt's a linebacker, and Garrett and Bosa are both defensive ends. And TJ Watt is, I mean, if you put him on a 40-yard stretch against both of these guys, he's dusting them. So I think that it's a hard comparison when you're putting TJ Watt in this because TJ Watt is blitzing this tackle off the edge, and he is so much faster than all these other tackles, and he's just getting around. Garrett and Bosa are both using moves and or bulldozing these guys.
I would have to agree. But Bosa was an outside linebacker in college, so
Shout out
that's
the Ohio State Buckeyes for making the nastiest defensive ends ever.
yeah.
Joey
He is
Joey
just
Bosa and Nick Bosa.
he's strictly just a defensive end because of that's what the 49ers run is a 4-3. But I think Nick Bosa is one of the faster defensive ends in the league. But yeah, I'm not denying that Miles Garrett isn't dominant, isn't good. I think when he is dominant, he is really damn good, and you can put him up there with the likes of any of the edge rushers in the NFL. But I just think he's one of those guys that is good and dominant for a select few plays, and then the rest of the time he's just nothing. He's just getting double teamed, and that's that may or may not have the nothing or have something to do with how bad that defense is, but that is definitely not on Nick Bosa or T.J. Watt. Moving on, we have